Well, it appears we're live. Let me turn this off. All righty. Let's see if we're going good here. So I go here. And we got to turn that on. Save that. We want to make sure the chat replay works. I wish that would stay checked, but it won't for some reason. All righty. So what I'm going to be doing while we're waiting for people to come on, let me check the microphone to make sure that it's all righty. Yeah, it's working. While we're waiting for people to come on, I'm just going to work on my airplane here. I wasn't going to get this elaborate, but I just can't resist. Not in my nature to do a plain Jane. So what do we got here? What we got here. Let me go to a different camera here. What we got here. What? This stripe here is going to be silver. This is going to be red. This stripe here will be yellow. And behind that, there'll be a black stripe. And a couple of stripes there. And on the fuselage, you got a yellow stripe under the red nose. And under the red scallop, we'll have checkerboards on the tail. The bottom, I think I'm just going to make a sunburst, make it quick and easy. Yes, the link is in Stunt Hangar. Let me make sure. Start a new topic. No, it's posted. It's posted now. Sorry. It's up there now, Gary. Got to make these stripes go into the hinge line. Otherwise, it looks stupid. I got a better arm for the overhead camera here, higher up. I also have a name for this airplane. Now, and as soon as people get in, there we go. We got Joe Gilbert. It's got to be iPad. Yeah, that's who it is.
Hello, Sparky.
Hello, Mr. Gilbert.
Looking good.
Got a name for it. I dreamt it up today.
What'd you call it?
I'm going to paint on here Caramba. And then
A rumba.
Yeah, and underneath in small letters, not an SV.
Rumba. That's funny. That's all good. Good show. We went out, flew a good bit today, had a good time. Going again tomorrow.
Same place.
Yep, our field. We're going to fly.
That lady, Mrs. Reeves, is a nice lady.
She's a good girl. She's fine. So are the V's going to be a color? The V is going to be the color part, right?
This is silver.
Okay.
This is red.
Okay.
This is going to be yellow. And then
Okay.
it'll have a 1/4-inch black stripe right behind it.
That'll be pretty.
And
Then
then
what's the front going to be? The front of that yellow.
this is red.
Red. Okay.
Red with a yellow stripe going through it, then a black
stripe.
backing it up.
Uh-huh. Then silver.
Yeah, then silver, and then my letters on the top here.
Letter's going to be what? Silver again?
No, gold leaf.
Gold leaf. Oh.
Then this stripe right here. I don't know that I can show it.
That's okay. No worries.
This
I
stripe.
can see it going back there.
This is a red. This is red, and this is red, and this is yellow. Checkerboard
Good.
tail with a red top.
Oh my gosh. That's a lot of trouble, checkerboard.
Nah, it's 2 seconds with stencil cutter.
Ah, good show.
Just put it on, spray it, and peel it off.
Red checkerboard,
Nope, black.
black checkerboard. Okay. It'll be fine. That airplane will fly well. 64 or 5 ounces. It won't be no trouble. You're putting a big old Tiger 60 in it, and it'll do it. It'll be fine.
You heard my Tiger run, didn't you?
I've heard your Tiger run.
Oh no, I didn't fly there.
No, but you flew at St. Louis.
Yeah. It sounds different than say what's the big heavy set guy's name?
I don't know. Oh, Jared Hayes.
That's it. My motor sounds different than his.
Those guys fly good too. They did well in Tulsa.
Yeah.
They flew those stilettos, and I think those are airplanes that's 20 years old or older. Could be older. They had them a long time.
Well, the airplane he flew wasn't a stiletto, I don't believe. His dad flew a stiletto.
No, the dad flew a stiletto. He had a Strega for PA.
Ultra lumber wagon.
There's too many ribs in this. There's a lot of ribs in a stiletto, or not stiletto, in a Strega. That's a big airplane.
It's a lumber wagon, that's for sure.
Big, thick wings too.
Yeah, they are. I had a Strega years ago, the ARF when they first came out, and I had everything from Tiger 60s to Rojet 61s in it. And I could make it would do the pattern, but I never could make it fly as good as I wanted it to fly. I don't know what was wrong. This is a big dang airplane. That's all I know. Just
And
a
every
big
one I
airplane.
ever saw that had enough power on it, the nose came off of it.
I wasn't happy with it. I don't know.
I've got one of the wings downstairs, but I've reconfigured it a bit to look like it's going to be a wing for a Turbo Raven, but that's an awful lot of wing.
There's a lot of ribs in that wing, Phil. There's a rib every inch and a quarter or less. Maybe
I think that's about right.
It's
and
close.
I took Denny's advice and I cut the leading edge off of it and putting a piece of wood up there and making a much more blunt leading edge, see if we can't straighten it out, because that thing comes to a point. That's ridiculous.
My ARF, when I cut the fabric back and sanded it flat as I could till I couldn't do no more, and that helped. It was so big and heavy when it would turn, I never could keep the energy I needed with the Tiger 60. I just couldn't make it keep up.
I'm going to try a big electric in it because I'm doing the Turbo Raven. And rather than putting a PA 75 in it or something like that, I'm going to go with just a big electric, and see if it'll work. If it works, fine. If it don't work, well, it'll be a hanger queen.
That's okay. Do something. I get it. No worries.
Yeah.
We went out and flew today. I flew my 576 ringmaster. I've flown so long. I thought, holy crap, this sucker flies so good. I came home, made another 2 more trim changes. I think it make it better. I don't know. 2 more, you know.
Yeah, I'm working on getting mine covered. I'm hoping to get it covered this week.
That rascal
Mine's not like
been
yours.
around a
Mine's
long
just
time.
and mine's just a straight one. It doesn't have the flaps.
I never flown one without flaps. Tom Dixon, his has got a foam wing with bigger flaps.
Full length flaps, yeah. They're only inch and a
Mine's
half.
little bitty flaps. They're this wide.
Yeah,
nothing.
but they're big, thick at one point. These are only like an inch, inch and a quarter, but they're full length. And I didn't even run mine full length. I ran them out to 2 inches from the tip or something and chopped them off. I've
flown those airplanes. The ones that Dixon has will fly. I mean, Brent Rahito's had 3 or 4 of them. Richard's had. I launched one in Tulsa. Richard had one of those kits at Tom, and they'll fly. I mean, the flaps are big, but like you say, if you cut them back 2 or 3 inches off each wingtip, it wouldn't hurt nothing. They got more flap than they need. They're not heavy airplanes.
Well, they fly great. I've never flown one. I've seen several of them, but I've never flown one. I've seen probably 6 of them, but I've never flown one, but I'm going to. I've got a kit downstairs before the price went up. Man, I tell you what, like everything else, the price went up.
With Pat Johnson, I think won't he cut you a kit of one of those if you wanted?
I don't know. I haven't talked to Pat in years.
I think Pat's got the plans, and I think he was in. I think he was in on the design. I think.
I tell you what, if I could get in touch with Pat, there's 2 of his airplanes I'd like to have. I'd like to have I would like to have a 576S, which is his version of the 576. Well, heck, he's the one designed 576 anyway, I think.
I think he is. I'm sure of it.
And then the other one I'd like to have is his shoestring. His 46 size shoestring. That thing is sharp.
Yes, sir.
I saw one of those at Huntersville and I wanted it. That was a nice looking airplane. Of course, it's one of those deals where I looked at it and I said, Philip, you ain't got time to build what you already got.
Oh, that's all our problem. I got told Lynn, I'm not greedy, just I want one of each, Phil.
Yeah, I want one of everything. That's the problem.
One of each would be good enough.
I honestly don't have any more room in the basement to hang anything. I'm out of ceiling space down there. Unless I go over the garage doors, and if I do that, something liable to get hit.
That's true.
Or selling.
Do what?
Sell them.
Well, that might be. I got several people that want a couple of them, but they don't,
Everybody wants to buy an airplane for $40. Well, the push rods are worth $40.
Yeah, that's the problem. I ordered a set of a set of horns a few weeks ago, and it's been, I thought I'd have it back by now. So I look in my mail today and the thing came back undeliverable. So I got to get in touch with him and find out what I put wrong on his address and send it again. But I ordered 4 sets. That ain't cheap, let me tell you.
No.
But I'll have to write him. I'm going to use the same check, but I'm going to send it to him again as soon as I figure out what the heck I did wrong. Looks right to me. The envelope matches what I've got on my notepad over here. But it came back, so that's all right. I ordered from Jim Lee several weeks ago, and I had never got anything back on that one.
That's unusual. Jim gets his stuff out quick.
If Jim got it, I'd have had the product already. Jim didn't get it. I know Jim. If he got the check, I'd have had the stuff by now. Something happened. But I mail stuff going out and I put it in my box out here, and it wouldn't be the first time. We had a neighbor move, and the new people that live there now moved in. And they came over and he says, I've got in the crawl space under my main house because it's a split level. And he said, I found a whole lot of mail addressed to you. And I said, oh my gosh. I had ordered plans that I told people I never got. I found I'd ordered a kit I never got, and it was under their house. The kid had apparently picked them up. I guess he wanted to play
Stole
post
them.
office. Huh?
Huh. Stole them and put them underneath his house.
Yeah, I guess he's playing post office. I don't know what happened, but I mean, it's all ruined. It's all the moisture got to it. It's all ruined. But that kit that's a $200 kit. And I told him I never got it, and I never did. But it came. I hate it for him. I don't know what to do. It's one of those bears. I ordered one from the Moon Brothers years ago, and I don't know. I don't know what to do. You can't do anything with it. You can't even read the everything got so wet and it's all matted together and the wood's ruined.
Yeah,
But
it's gone. It's worthless.
yeah, but I hate it for the moons, but I don't know what to do. But anyway, then I had a set of plans from Don Hutchins, PT 17. That was in there. It's the same situation. It's ruined. The tube was just really, really soft. And Don sent it in good tubes. He didn't fool around. Don's first class on everything he did.
Is that at your home?
Huh?
Is that at your home or what?
Yeah, we had a kid in the neighborhood that wasn't too bright. I'm not going to go into it too much, but
It don't matter.
he was
Let it go.
he had some problems, and they were doing the best they could to keep him out of special school, and he ended up having to go anyway because as he got older, he got violent. But I mean, you do the best you can, especially with your kids. So I don't blame them. And away you go,
It is what it is. It's all good.
Yeah.
Order another kit and have a nice day.
Yeah, well, that's what I would have done, but I never did. I should have, but I never did. I don't know if I've even got the motor for it anymore. I've sold so many motors lately. I don't know whether I kept that motor I had for that one or not. No, I know I did. I've still got it because that's the one Sparky wants. Oh,
What do I want?
that's 65.
Oh,
I hadn't,
PhD.
I hadn't sold it because it's the one you wanted. And I know I hadn't sold it to you, so I hadn't sold it yet.
Okay.
PA 65.
Yeah.
That's a good motor. The trouble with it is who you gonna get parts from to fix it when it breaks.
That's right.
Well, it's the same thing with my PA 61. I don't have 61. Same thing with my several of them, about 5 of them. I had one of everything Randy makes. John, how are you today?
I just got off of my job at the museum. And
Were you a model?
Oh man, boo hiss.
I was
Boo hiss.
I was a model of Dionysius, with the can't you tell by this bod? Oh,
It's getting deep in here.
deep. It's over our necks already.
I mean that.
Oh man.
I told somebody I don't mind it getting deep, but when it gets up past here, I start fighting back.
Yep. I'm trying to find some more pictures of the 2-bit bipe. I know I got more pictures. I've got one of it in flight even, but I'm having a heck of a time finding it. But I've got a guy that wants to see some more pictures of it. And I'd like to accommodate him, but so far the one I showed last week is the only one I've been able to find. Did you get those? Did you get those files to
the guys. Yeah, I sent Buddy his Saturday. We got home from flying. I got out there and was going to give them to him, and I forgot to take my phone. So he gave me his email address. He sent me his email address. So I come home, got on my phone and sent it to him then. And I think I believe he sent me a thing saying thanks. So I take it he got them. If he don't, next time I see him, which will be in the morning, I'll give them to him then.
There you go.
I think he's already got them.
And what about the other fellow there? What's his name?
Kermit Payne.
Kermit.
Oh, I got him the week before that.
Well, I sent some files there on the pictures and that
Yeah. He said he already had them. He got the picture off of Stunt Hangar. You had a post on
okay.
Stunt Hangar and told all about the plane. He got it off that.
Okay, did he get the file with the layout for the trim?
I don't know. I'll ask.
Because I sent you that too.
When I told him I had some files for him and was going to try to send them to him, he said I got them. I got them offline. So I don't know. I'll ask in the
Well, I
morning.
don't think he's got the one on the trim scheme because you're the only
Well, I'll
person.
give it. He wouldn't because I don't think that was on Stunt Hangar. I'll give them to him in the morning
All
if
right.
he's there, and he should be. Kermit's
I
usually there
appreciate
most of the time. Yeah, we'll
I
fix them up. We're gonna fix them up. We're gonna hopefully have some real pretty airplanes right here next year.
Well, I hope they keep track of the changes that they make or that are needed. I pointed out it needs like 7 to 10% more stabbing rudder, vertical stabbing rudder.
Well, what I drew, I don't know about what they've done. I have not talked to them about what they did, but most of the biplanes that I've seen that are really successful, I mean, real ones, the rudder is just about the height of the top wing.
Right.
This one was a little short, so I
Yep.
extended it. I extended it one. I think it was an inch. It might have been an inch and an eighth, inch and a quarter. Wasn't any more than that.
Yeah.
But I extended it up to where it's a 16th above the top of that wing. If you just draw a line right straight back, I just drew it up to that line.
Yeah.
And reshaped it. I mean, the front line, I didn't move it forward because that piece comes out. So I just changed the angle a little bit.
There
But
you go.
I got it drawn and I didn't like the looks of it. It didn't match the plane anymore. So I got a tracing of the wingtip. And I put that up there and I said, okay. And that fit.
Good.
So then the back line, of course, it had to be moved too to come to that one. So I said, all right, let's see if we can't take the other side of the wingtip and bring that up that way. And it worked. It don't look like the wingtip because it's too big,
Right.
but it
right.
looks as close to it as I can get it with that shape.
Well, it's got the same curves. That's what you.
Oh yeah, it's got the same curve, so it still looks sexy. When I just drew straight lines, it looked like, so I
I
doing
got
that.
one guy that's inquiring on it, and he heard me mention that I had a Stalker 61 on it first, and yeah, that would haul it around, but it didn't have the beans to do the job. But it might have been too long of lines and other things. But there's too much drag, and my best feeling on that is like a 35 15 to 35 25 electric would be just fine. I want that constant power where it doesn't drive.
I'm going 35-20.
That's a good one.
I didn't even know there was a 35-25, but I'm gonna put at least 35-20, and I'm thinking 4250 because I've got one.
Oh yeah,
Just chunk that in there.
Yeah, you want the problem is, it's scrubbing off so much speed in the square maneuvers. As it slows down, as it makes each turn, that also causes it to slow down, and then it can't pick up enough speed because with an IC engine unless you're running 222.
Yeah.
It might work then. And a Stalker is not a 222 engine.
No, it's a 2.4.
That PA 61 you got would probably be just fine. Yeah. But
no, I'm not gonna put that in it. That PA6, what I've got left, the only two I've got left is PA, well, three. I've got a 40 light that I'll probably sell if somebody wants it. I've got a 65 I'm gonna keep. I'm gonna put it in my Bear. And I've got a 51 I'm gonna put in my Impact. So if the 40 won't pull it, I'm gonna put the 51 in it.
Gotcha.
So that's the thing there. And I'm not talking about that 40. I've got a OS 40 VF set up like Paul Walker's. But
when I get caught up with some stuff, I might get onto those plans and make those changes,
Yeah.
Trying to make sure that everybody that's got them now knows that those are, and You know,
Well, you got to start somewhere, John.
yeah.
There's not a whole lot of planes, a whole lot of planes that were designed that worked the first time. I mean, look at,
right.
I mean, everybody thinks about the Nobler as being the quintessential, this plane always works. But look at Raby, Lord have mercy, I'm losing my mind. Look at Bob Gieske.
Right.
Bob Gieske did the Nobler and did more with a Nobler than yeah. I don't know why I got Al Raby on my
You
mind.
got Al Raby on your mind.
I've been looking at the Mustang plans. Anyway, Bob Gieske took the Nobler and made it his, the Gieske Nobler. But he worked on that thing and he modified it and he modified it and he modified it. And I mean, in 1968, the plane, the last one, the one that Jim Lynch and Charlie Reeves repainted for him and cleaned up and fixed up. I mean, if you didn't see the pictures, guys, you missed something. They did a beautiful job. But those two guys, Reeves and Lynch, could make a brick look good. But they really did a masterful job on that Nobler. It was gorgeous. It looked better than it did when Bob flew it. But anyway, that plane was modified and modified and modified, even though he started out with a Nobler. He started out with a Winter, and he modified it to his specs and kept modifying it. Now, my question, if you build a Gieske Nobler, because I've just done this, if you build a Gieske Nobler and you build it by Steve Moon's plans, which was if you ordered Gieske Nobler from Pampa, that's what you got. Is that plane legal in Classic?
No.
Because
Yes.
No.
Why not? It was supposed to be the plans he did from Bob Gieske, because who worked closer with Bob Gieske than Steve Moon? Name me one person that ever worked closer with Steve Moon.
They're not gonna say anything to you, but I don't know.
Well, I don't know. It absolutely matches the 68 drawing that I finally got, but the plane already has the hiccup in the bottom and it's got the shorter rudder.
That's what mine. I got a top flight kit. I flew a top flight kit at Gieske Nobler at Tucson. It's got Mickey Mouse shells you put together. It's a horrible kit. I wouldn't build it. If you gave me that, I wouldn't build it again. And I had it out there. And I was walking back to the pits after I flew it. Somebody said, that airplane's not legal to fly here. And I said it on the ground. I said, son, you pick that up and you walk about 6 awnings that way. Bob Gieske down there smoking a pipe. You ask him if it's legal or not. Go on. Yeah. And he wouldn't get out of his chair. So I picked my airplane, went on.
Yeah. Well, that's what I thought. I figured because Steve
I got
drew
a question
that
for you designers before we can't get the word in. So basically it's for oh shit. John, every time I do a rudder, I make it as tall as half the propeller. Is that right or wrong?
Oh, you got a baseline stuff. Does it work for you?
Yeah, it works.
There you go. That's a good question.
If it works for you, it's tall enough.
Okay.
Sometimes if you start having some problems, some wiggling in that you want, you can always try adding an inch to the top of the rudder and the step. And you don't have to mess with the airplane. You could fold some cardboard up and tape it on there and try it out and see if it does you any better.
Better to make it too tall than too short, because then you just cut off what you don't need.
Well, that's fact.
That's true. But you got to remember, if you get it too tall, it's going to weather vane on you.
That's right.
There's a line there. I agree. I think thicker, bigger airfoil is better than skinny and tall myself. I'd rather have that circular airfoil back there, big and thick, that would drag it back. Anytime it moves, it says, oh, no, you don't. I ain't letting you move.
Tell you what, it's hard to beat. It's hard to beat a good airfoiled rudder.
That's my opinion. I built a rudder one time on a cardboard and balsa wood and slid it over there. And I thought it was better having a big, thick airfoil. Because when it moves, it says, no, I'm coming back. No, I ain't moving. I'm staying. A skinny one goes, oh, my gosh, where's center? But you get a big, thick one back there that says, no, I don't want to move.
Yeah,
You got more pressure.
it tries to maintain stability.
Guess
I
I'm
agree.
doing that wrong. I use a 3/16 thick rudder.
It probably makes very little difference.
If it works for you, that's really
How
your
many
guiding
times-
principle.
How many times did you crash your buster or your ringmaster or your flight streak or your shoestring and broke the rudder off and started it and flew it again that flew better?
I've done that.
Every time almost, I would venture to say.
Yeah, I started out with some rudder in it, and after busting it off and flying it without it, it was straight.
It was better. That's right.
I took all the offset out of it, and it flew perfect.
I like the ones that are warped over
off.
on the top.
They do what?
They're
Do
warped over on the top and they still work.
Yeah.
I get it.
I don't think there's much difference in because of what we're doing.
I agree. You're going 55 miles an hour. You're not going like a bullet anyhow.
Well, see, the reason why I'm advocating for a taller rudder on the biplane is it's slowing down due to drag, aerodynamic, and drag, just slowing down too much in the square turns. And when it gets to that final turn, it's going too slow to really maintain stability with that short rudder on it. And that might not be the whole answer. There might be more to it. Well, I know there's more to it. For instance, shorter lines would help a lot.
That's right. And more nitro.
And more power. Yep.
Don't let it slow down. It's a secret there, John.
I know.
Don't let it slow down.
Well, and see, and people talk about having the top wing, at a more negative angle than the bottom wing, or a little positive on the bottom and negative on the top. But I have flown several. The last two biplanes that I've flown, they were 0-0. And the one thing those would do was glide. When the power was off, they didn't fall out of the sky.
I'm not enough of an aeronautical engineer, but if it's going to glide good, it's taking less energy to glide, so it's going to take less energy to fly.
No, but you sure know when to put the flaps in.
Yeah.
No, Joe does.
Oh,
yeah.
When I rode with him in his airplane, he was continually screwing the flaps, the trim.
That and the trim all the time. Every time you do something, you got to trim it. It's busy up there when you're going from, take off to climb.
What'd you take him up in?
RV9.
Oh yeah, yeah. You always fool with that thing.
It's in the airplane. When you change airspeed, you got to change the trim knob.
Well, yeah, you gotta retrim it for straight level flight.
And then the minute I got back, they said, "Did you get sick?" No.
He didn't get sick. No.
No, I didn't get sick.
No.
We should have done some loops.
They wouldn't appreciate that in the traffic pattern. There was 5 people in the pattern. Y'all was busy.
Yeah. What did you take him a couple times around the patch?
I think 2 touch and goes and a full stop.
Yeah.
It worked out fine. It was all good. He watched for airplanes good. He helped.
I remember my first solo flight. They cut me loose. And I flew about 20 miles north of the airport to a lake that my buddy lived on, and I buzzed his house.
That's what you do when you're a student.
If something were to happen to Joe, I wouldn't have been able to land it because I couldn't touch the rudder pedals.
Well, I tell you, it scared me getting down that low at that speed. I had not done that before. So I got back up real quick, but I had to buzz and rock my wings at him and turn around and went back. That was my solo flight, my first solo flight.
Remember what I did on the first solo flight?
I did 2 touch and goes and a full stop. And I kept thinking, man, this thing really climbs good. I look at the back and there's nobody there. Okay, I guess I have to fly this airplane now, don't I?
What was funny is Joe rocked his wings so the other airplane could see him. And the minute we got back, one of his neighbors called and said, "Did you fly over the house and rock your wings to say hello?"
Yep. in-laws live. We went right over them, and I just happened to rock my wings, and there's in the back porch having a coffee, and they see me rock my wings. That must be Joe. He sees us. No, when somebody's having trouble in the traffic pattern seeing you, if you just rock your wings 3 or 4 times a little bit, that glistening and the shining of their airplane, it shows up, and they can find you and make life better for everybody.
It flashes at them.
Yeah, exactly. It does. The sunshine will glisten off something. You can find them better.
I was making a cross-country flight, and I'm flying along 4,000 feet above ground. And just going along, and all of a sudden, zoom, right 10 feet above me, I went underneath a big eagle.
Oh, my goodness.
And I didn't see him coming up, and if I'd have been 10 feet higher, I'd have got it right in the windscreen.
That wouldn't have been good.
No, I think it'd been harder. It probably would have been harder on the eagle, but it might have crashed.
Yeah.
An eagle might take a 150 out there, man. It'd be a bad deal. Get an eagle hit you.
And that's
Usually
what I-
birds dive. They almost always dive. You
Yeah.
always want to stay away. I've flown within 50 feet of an eagle, and they just look at you like, what do you want? And they look back over at you like, what do you want?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Those big birds of prey, they're not scared of you.
The only one that ever scared me was a dang turkey buzzard. That's a big bird, but
Same story.
We got close to one time, and I didn't. One of those times we was flying up around the knob, Pilot Mountain Knob, and I saw a bird take off and coming out, and I thought, well, he'll be gone time we get there, and he was. But the closer I got, the bigger he got naturally. But this was a California condor. That's a big bird. Let me tell you, that's
I'd
a
be
big
doing something to
daggone
miss
bird.
him.
He's almost.
We weren't that close to him, and I thought, God, that's a big bird. Henry
He's about
says,
half
yeah,
the
that
size
is a
of a
big bird.
Cessna 150.
Yeah, we were in a Luscombe.
I've hit
I mean-
3 birds in my life in the air.
Hmm.
And all of them were small birds. 2 of them went through the prop, hit the windshield, and one of them, the prop hit, it slung it all over the wing. But they were small birds. They weren't big birds, but they thumped the window for you. Oh, you duck. You will duck. Oh,
Yeah.
dang.
Yeah.
Did you guys see the hawk on my channel that they flew at Booter Park?
I saw it live.
You saw it live. Were you there?
Yeah. Yes.
Okay. I didn't know whether you were there or not.
Yeah, I was there.
Those same people used to bring bald eagles down and fly them at the park.
Uh-huh.
That's a big ass bird.
That's a
You
big
ain't
bird.
kidding. Boy,
If somebody flies a bald eagle, if you're saying what I think you're saying, because I got some friends that fly hawks, and if you fly a bald eagle, you better have a big thick leather thing on your arm.
Well,
'cause, man,
that's what they did. But they did it legally. They had, as a wounded animal, and they rehabbed it and taught it how to fly again. But those things are taller than knee high, Phil. They'll reach up past your knees.
and they're strong too.
Well,
Oh, man.
an eagle come up to my waist.
You might very well. That's right. They're a big
Yeah.
bird.
They bring them out there to Booter Park to train them to fly at Busch Stadium.
Is that
Busch
right?
Stadium.
Yep. They let him loose during like hat opening ceremony or whatever, and he flies
Right.
to the stadium. Then he comes back and gets his mouse, and they put him back in the cage.
Put him back in the cage. That's right. I'll be darned.
Ain't that something? Well, I tell you what, it's a
majestic bird, but it's a big rascal.
Bite your hand off.
Oh, son. No.
Daggum hawk would do a pretty good
It's a
job on the
buzzard.
eagles. A whole
An
lot
eagle's a
stronger.
buzzard's what it is. It's really a buzzard.
Those things can live to be
Talk.
40. Those things can live to be 47 years old, and then they
Uh-huh.
molt. They lose their beak. They lose their talons. They don't lose their foot. They just lose the claws. And they're pretty well helpless for about 2 months. And their partner has to hunt for them and bring food to them, and because they're helpless, they're in the nest and they're just up there.
I'll
And
be
he
darned.
grows a new beak, and he grows his talons back. And just about the time that one of them gets back healthy, the other one will lose theirs because they mate. They
They mate
pair
for
up.
life.
They
They
mate for life.
Yeah.
And they'll pair up and then they'll go another 25 years and then they die.
I'll be darned. I know up in Canada, I went fishing up there before, and the eagles lived at the same place, that lake, for decades. And you could catch a walleye or something. The guys would kill it, and they'd hit that fish on the water, and the eagles start flying, and they'd throw that fish out in the water about 15 or 20 feet from the boat. And that eagle come right down and soon scoop that bird right out of the water at these feet. It
Yeah.
was incredible, man. That they're a majestic bird when you see them fly. I think.
Oh yeah.
I think.
We used to have, now this ain't near as nice as that, as fun as that, but we used to go down to the beach and there was a pelican. We always called him Paulie the Pelican, and he'd sit there on the end of the weather house. They had weather stuff all over the end of the pier, and it was gathered in this house, this little building out there. And then that went back to the weather station, whatever, from to tell people what the weather was. But anyway, this bird would sit there and you'd catch a trash fish and throw it up there in the pelican, and boom, he just eat it up. Goofy bird. He was too lazy to fly, so we had to feed him. Oh, we had a ball down there.
From the YouTube chat, it says, "Why not fly stunt?" Says, "Has anyone heard anything about King Orange? Are the fields okay? Because we have one more hurricane coming this week."
Have not.
He said
That it was postponed and it would be sometime in November. 1st of November is what I heard. Now, I didn't hear that officially. I just heard that from one of the guys. He thought it was going to be 1st of November. But, with another storm coming, who knows?
Isn't it interesting, the timing of this stuff? Don't let a good
Yeah.
crisis go to waste.
Yeah.
I tell you what, they're working that harp overtime.
I'm telling you, this October is not the time to do anything because there's so many things happening. I mean, we had our Parkland Mustang Roundup this past weekend, and it's usually in September. This year it got pushed to October, and we said next year we're going to put it back to September because not many people showed up because there's just so many things happening this time of year. It's just this. I mean, there's a festival, at least up here. I don't know about all states, but North Carolina, there's a festival every weekend this time of year. And some of the festivals have been sort of closed, and a bunch of us that were going to do some stuff, they've got together and we're going to go up to Linville, and I think it's Linville. There again, I'm not putting it on, so I don't know. But I was told bring your boots and your shovel, and we're going to go up and help out one day.
Is that North Carolina or South Carolina?
North Carolina.
Is that where the tornadoes hit? North Carolina?
Yeah.
Your state.
They tore hell out of our mountains.
So how far away are you from it?
40 miles.
Wow.
Is that right?
Yeah. It didn't hurt us too bad, but 40 miles away, less than an hour away, is tore all to pieces. Linville, where I trout fish, the water is usually about 18 to 24 inches deep in the shallow, the sides. Now there's deep pools in the middle, but you can see them and avoid them. And if you got any sense at all, use a walking stick anyway. But waist high is about the highest pools. That water came out of the banks 12 to 14 feet because they said the fire station, which sits up on the top of the knoll above the bathrooms, the water was up to the windows of the fire engines. The two fire engines are ruined. That whole town is just soaked. And I mean, there's places up near Asheville where whole neighborhoods just aren't there. They're washed away.
Right there, they just I heard it up in Asheville that it was 28 feet over flood stage.
Yeah.
Did you guys see where they're denying helicopters to fly in there?
Yeah. Well, Sparky, they said there's 100 people known dead and 600 people missing.
Well, I heard a different number, like in the thousands.
Well, it could be. I mean, I haven't heard in 2 or 3 days, so that very well could be.
Cleus McFarland tried to fly in, or he did fly in there for some things, but they tried to go back with another, load of stuff, and they said, "No, we can't do it. You can't do it. We'll arrest you if you fly back here to help." That's unreal.
Well,
It's
the problem
unfathomable.
was, I'm gonna leave the politics out of it. We had a politician that was going to view the area, so it became a no-fly zone. So the people who were going to go in and rescue people with helicopters could not fly there.
It's still going on then. Is that politician still there?
I don't know. I heard the same thing, and I don't know what the heck's happening. But I thought, boy, if that's true, that a politician stopped them from going in and helping people, he saved there was a couple stranded, and he went in and left his son with the man
That's right. That's one guy.
and took the woman out, and they told him if he came back with the man, they were going to arrest him. So he went back and had to explain to the man that he could not save him, but his wife was safe.
I'd have
And he
took him
took his
somewhere
son.
else. Just take him
Well,
somewhere else.
he couldn't. I thought of that too, but they said
Yeah,
if
that's
they then,
baloney. You
if
could
they
fly
then found
somewhere
it,
else.
no, that's just politics. That's why I don't believe in politics anymore.
Right.
It's gotten so corrupt and so crooked that I just don't want anything to do with it at all.
Let's talk about the King Orange.
I
Wayne
mean that.
Smith said it's rescheduled for October 25th, 26th, and 27th.
All right before
Okay.
Halloween.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. That's pretty cool.
That's what Wayne Smith posted. And I think he's very involved.
So you can wear your ghost costume.
Wayne knows. Trust me.
Yeah.
If it's
And
going
that's
on, Wayne
at
knows.
Mac Alpine, or however you say that.
Yeah.
Mac Alpine, Florida,
Yeah.
So
That's somewhere over in the panhandle. I don't know
yeah,
where.
it's up north. It's north.
Okay.
Never
North
been. It's a
Central.
long ways.
It's a long ways from here.
Well,
I'd like
you
to
think it's a long
go.
way
I'd
from
like
you.
to go
It's-
just to. I'd like to go just to see Ron Walder and his buddy Harry.
Yeah, I'd
They
like to see
live
Ron
there.
again too.
I'd like to go, but it's a long way.
I think
I'd
it's
like to see
it's-
both. I'd like to see both the Waldrons again. They're great people.
It might be the weekend after Zachary. No, Zachary. Yeah, Zachary's the 18th and 19th and 20th. It is the next weekend.
Yeah.
It'd be good just to hang around in Baton Rouge for a day or two and then boogie on over there, see them people.
Mm.
That'd be a good trip. It's a walkabout, Phil. It's just a walkabout.
Yeah.
Well, I'm not walking about as much these days. I get tired too easy. But I'm trying to get back. We're going. Mama's got me out to exercise and told me tomorrow we're going to the gym. Said we didn't go today, and she said she had too much going on today. She had class today. So tomorrow she started telling me tomorrow you're not getting out of it tomorrow. You're going to go exercise. I said, well, I'm going flying in the morning. She said, okay, when you come home, we're going to the gym.
If
You
you
know
spend
what?
as much time at the airport, at the basement building airplanes as the gym, you'd have airplanes built.
Every time I have a pretty day that I should be building, I've promised somebody I'd do something else. I
Man,
should have
I
been
flew-
painting it. I should have been painting today.
We flew today, and I'm going back tomorrow. It's too good a day to
Well,
waste.
I'm going in the
Oh,
morning. I'm going in the
am
morning.
too.
Tommy's going to be there, and I expect Buddy and Mr. Payne will be there. I'm not sure, but I hope they
Kermit,
will
I
be.
like Kermit. Buddy's cool too, man.
Yeah, they're all good people.
You got a good
Best
group
time to
fly
paint
with.
is when it's snowing.
That's right.
Well, see, but
Dry.
I have to paint outside. I can't paint in the house.
In the
Once I get
garage.
the shop done. Huh?
You got to go in the
My-
garage.
My garage is under the house and it's part of the house.
You have a little pop-up?
No, but I'm thinking about getting one. I'm thinking
I
about
thought
getting, I've got the
about
building,
buying
I've got the building out there in the backyard, Sparky, but I ain't got power out there yet.
I thought it'd be
But
interesting
you're
to
a
have.
lineman.
You can buy
Yeah.
those paint booths that blow up. I thought,
Yep.
man, that'd be a pretty good deal too. Blow that
Um,
booger up and paint and put it down, put it up. I thought that might not be a bad deal.
That, I didn't know about that. I'll have to look
They
into
got
that.
blow up paint booths. You get 8x8, and they're not terrible expensive. They got their own little fan motor to blow them up, and a fan motor
I'll
to
have to
suck
look into
air in
that.
through filters. Yeah, there's blow up like those toys you slide on type deals. You
Like
know,
a
Yeah,
house.
bounce house,
Bounce
bounce
yeah,
house.
like bounce houses, but they're paint booths. They're designed for that. And I thought that wouldn't be a bad gig because mine's
No,
always
it
in the
wouldn't.
garage. The light's not good. Got it.
Well, I'm in the same boat there, but I'm gonna have, when I built that building, that was part of the design. One end of it, has a garage door. And I'm gonna take everything, put it out in the yard and run plastic around, and I've already got I've got, you see those gold curtains back there in the back, that's what's going in there. They're old curtains and I hate the color, but they'll be fine for a paint booth area, just to keep the dust off my planes. But oh Lord, what a mess, I'm telling you. What? Vicky says she sees a mess, me. But anyway.
No comment, Vicky.
Joe says no comment, Vicky.
I'm guilty. I'm not commenting.
So we just
she's a good girl. Leave her alone.
yeah, she is a good, and she's put up with me for 49 years and 6 months.
Hey guys, Steve, the real Steve's
in here. How about that?
And he's been
hello, Steve.
For a while. We ought to recognize him and let him say a piece.
He does.
Yeah,
he
turned on his camera.
Worthwhile to say.
He turned on his camera tonight.
Yeah. I finally got it working. I had some security setting on this laptop that wouldn't let me make any of it work, but here we are now.
Well done.
All right.
You're looking good.
Thank you.
And he's involved in the one hobby my wife would not let me get into.
Oh, golf?
Yeah.
I'm guessing on my hat.
She told me early on I fish, fly, fresh, salt water. I was into race cars for years. I was into sailplanes. I see it. I was into all these other things. See, I don't have hobbies. I have obsessions. She told me one more obsession, your butt got to go. So I didn't.
Well, you're not into dancing girls,
I am into dancing girls. I dance with my wife, and I got 2 daughters. Golf. Do what?
Watch the George Carlin skit on golf.
And that was the smartest guy we've had on the planet in a long time.
I'm telling you. I tell you what, if you think model airplanes are expensive, or if you think fishing is expensive, get into golf. Some of these cats got $1,200 in one club, and they got a bag full. Then if you go to their homes, invariably they got 3 or 4 more bags, all full of clubs laying around. I mean, I've heard of obsessions, but my gosh, I can't afford that. You could have a nice sports car for what they got in one of them bags.
Let it go.
I mean that.
Let it go. Let it go.
Hey, it's only money, and you can't take it with you.
Well, like Bob Hunt says, there's only one real hobby: spending money.
Yeah,
that's it.
Colleen told me I'm going to go up there and visit them and see how her day went. Y'all have a good evening.
All right.
See y'all.
I hope you get to come back. Take care of yourself, Joe.
I thought I lost my bag of harmonicas after I went down a 90-mile dirt road to a little town out in the West Desert at the southwestern edge of the Air Force Test Center there, and played a gig there. And I got home and I was unloading the car the next day, and I couldn't find my bag of harmonicas. Now I've got an obsession on them because, I started out with 1, and now I got close to 60 of them. I got 3 belts. I got the bandolier. That's what I took out there. And, I figured it out because I was thinking, what's this going to cost me insurance wise? And I've got in that one bandolier and the harmonicas in it over $1,000. An obsession. Yeah, you got the right word.
When a harmonica, a nice one.
Yeah.
A really nice one with a button on the end and about a foot
that's
long.
chromatic, yeah.
Was $12.
Where?
I got my mama one at Sears Roebuck, and it was a good one. She played the juice harp and the harmonica.
Well, that was a long time ago, though.
Oh gosh, yes. When I was about 6 years old, I had to mow grass for weeks to get that thing.
Yeah.
But Mama wanted a real nice harmonica, and we couldn't afford it. And my little brother and I decided, by golly, we're going to get her one for her birthday. So we got Daddy to take us up there. And when he found out we was going to waste our money on a juice harp, he called it, I didn't think I was ever going to live it down. But I went in there and got that thing. and we wrapped it up best we could. I think we used newspaper or funny paper or something. That's all we had. I mean, you know, we didn't have
Yeah.
decorative paper, but we wrapped that thing up. Then we wrapped it up again. We wrapped it up again. We kept the idea was to get it to look good, but that when Daddy saw Mama open it, she said, "My God, boys, did you want her to take her whole birthday to open this thing?" You know. Anyway, she finally when she finally opened that thing and got tears in her eyes, Daddy said, "Oh, damn, if I'd known it meant that much to you, I'd have bought you one."
Oh, yeah.
Speaking of prices, when I first started smoking, it was 27 cents a pack.
Yeah.
I went to the store today. I don't smoke anymore. I just vape. I asked them how much a pack of Camel non-filters was. $12.
Yeah, I believe it.
When I started smoking, it was in the Navy and it was 10 cents a pack, $1 a carton. I was through the Navy. It was about double that on the civilian market. It was about $2 for a carton. Man, I'm sure glad I kicked that. My ex-wife, who got me started smoking again after I quit for many years, is dying from lung cancer now. It's metastasized into brain cancer. And I don't think she's going to be long for the world, unfortunately. And it's a sad shame because she's a good person. I mean, we didn't make it, but you know, that didn't mean she wasn't a good person. But she just couldn't give up the cigarettes. So
Several like that.
it's a heck of a way to go. Watch somebody cough their lungs out.
$12.
Yeah, used to pay less than that. Even in the 70s, it was less than that for a carton.
Well, I got out of high school in '74, but
When I got my car in 71, got my driver's license in 71 and bought a car, cigarettes were 35 cents a pack.
Yep.
And all my buddies were trying to get me to start smoking. Oh, you ain't a man if you don't smoke. I said, well, I tell you what, I can spend 35 cents on a pack of cigarettes that I don't enjoy, or I can spend 35 cents on a gallon of gas and I can go ride in my car. I would rather ride in my car. Have a nice day. Enjoy your cigarettes. And that was the end of that. My dad smoked like a train. My older brother smoked. My younger brother smoked. My mother and I were the only two that never smoked. And all of us have developed heart disease. I mean, you know, everybody says, oh, it's because they smoked. Well, I never smoked, and I got the same thing they had. I mean, everybody's gone but my older brother and I. And he quit smoking several years ago, many years ago, and I never did. And it just runs in the family. Everybody said, oh, it's because you smoked. No, I never smoked.
Well, I can tell you this, and you probably know this already, everybody here. I was addicted to cigarettes so bad, it was harder for me to get off cigarettes than if I'd been on morphine or opium. I had that much of a dependency on the nicotine.
Mhm.
And the only way I quit, I was able to quit for good, is that I got pneumonia. I had a half pack of cigarettes and I got so sick that I didn't want to smoke a cigarette. That's getting pretty darn sick when you're an addict. And I actually wound up in the hospital a little bit for that. I came out, and it took about 2 or 3 weeks, and I was feeling good. And I had that half pack of cigarettes sitting on the coffee table. And I went over there and said, well, I think I'll have a cigarette. And I pulled it out, got it up to my lips, got the lighter, and I started to light it. And I said, wait a minute. You've been wanting to learn wanting to quit. And I knew from prior experiences, if you could get past the first 2 weeks, you had a good chance of getting off of them. And I was already at 3 weeks. And I took it out, put it back in the pack. I left that half pack of cigarettes on the coffee table. That was there for 2 years the last time I saw it. I don't know, I think my stepson might have stole it, but I never had another one, but it was there. And that was one of the things that helped me, because when I didn't have to go bum a cigarette and feel like I had to buy some to pay somebody back for the ones I bummed. It was there. If I really wanted one, I could have one. So it for some reason or other, it clicked in my mind and made it so that I had a stronger resolve to stay off of it. And I've been off it now for close to 20 years. Yeah.
Smoke 2.5 packs a day.
When Joe
Yep.
came on,
Yeah.
today, I told him the name of this airplane. I don't think I told you guys yet. The name
What is it?
The name of this airplane is Caramba. And underneath it's going to say not an SV.
Caramba. Okay.
Yeah.
Well,
Well, that's like the little tandem twin I'm doing. Its name is Two for the Show.
and that's a cool deal. Yeah.
One for the money, two for the show. 3 to get ready. Now go, kid, go.
Yeah. Man.
What colors?
Trim color's gonna be.
Orange and yellow and silver and red.
Right. Well, I like the
Canopy, that's pretty.
This right here is silver. That's red. That's red. This is yellow. And then there'll be a black stripe here. And then this will be red with a yellow stripe along the underneath that. And then checkerboards on the tail with a red top. Maybe a yellow stripe under there too.
What's you at for weight the last time you weighed it?
It's at 60 ounces.
Is the bottom going to look
Like the top.
I'm going to put a sunburst on it. Something simple. It's at 60, so it'll be 64.
This is a dumb question. When they judge appearance, do they pick it up and look at the bottom of it?
Of course.
Okay.
Sometimes they
Used
don't.
to, but they
Do now.
Yeah,
For years they did not, but they do now.
yeah.
You hand it to the guy, he takes it. You hand it to the guy with a scale, they weigh it, and then you hand it to the guy who takes it from you and sets it on the ground. And what I did when I judged appearances, I flipped it over and looked at it as I was walking. I already had a pretty good idea where it belonged.
This is what I like to do on the
I'll
bottom.
have to look at it.
I'll have to look at it before I start walking because I'm not that steady anymore.
This is what I like to do on the bottom. See that?
Yeah.
Oops.
Yeah,
See
that
that?
looks good.
Let me
Yeah.
hold on a second. Let me make you big.
I learned how to do that. It's real simple, but it sure looks good on the bottom when they pick it up to look at it.
Yeah.
But it's just painted on there, but it looks like it has a wheel well and all of that.
Yeah.
One
That's
on
the way
each
Ray
side.
That's the way Raby did his Mustang. Well, did everything really.
Yeah.
That's a nice looking airplane.
It's
It
a nice
is.
flying airplane too. Only trouble, it has one major flaw.
What's that?
It's so skinny that in the air with that dark blue fuselage, it looks like a black needle flying through the air.
Yeah. Yeah. I in my infinite wisdom left an SV11 silver.
Oh, good.
Whole airplane's basically silver. Everybody says, "Oh, it'll be easy to see."
Sure.
Well, I have a problem, and I've nearly had 4 accidents in my life. All 4 times I about got hit. All 4 times it was silver vehicles. I just can't see them. So I don't know why in my infinite wisdom, I thought a daggum airplane would be different. But I went out and got this silver airplane and tried to fly it. That thing disappears when it goes from the shade to the sky. It disappears when it comes back down from the sky into the shade. I just can't see the full thing. I have to fly. There's a shell emblem on the back of it between the flap and the elevator. And I'm flying. I've never flown an airplane from the back before. I've always flown the spinner. And I have to fly the back of that thing because it's all I can see. Once it's moving, everything else keeps disappearing. And rather than keep having to look for it, I just watch that shell emblem. But I'm telling you, Sparky, that's a pretty canopy. You did good on that canopy. I like that green and black. That's nice.
It's got more black in it than I normally do. Watching windy videos. Put a lot of black in it. Okay, we can lay it on there.
You know, if you're gonna do a clear canopy, just a clear canopy, and you decide you want to fog it, everybody thinks that you have to dye it or something and then put it on the plane. What you can do is take the color that you want, like black, is what I did, and mix it in clear. And you just have real thin black. Everybody says, "Oh, that's just dark clear. That's not going to do anything."
Yeah, it
You
does.
don't have to. You don't have to do it all in one coat. Put it on.
Candy
Wait.
apple.
Yeah, that looks good too.
No, it's what you're making there is candy apple.
Well, about the same thing. Yeah, you're looking through it. You're looking through it. When you do a candy apple paint job, you paint the car gold, or you
Silver,
paint
gold,
it
yeah.
gold or silver. And I took mine and had it gold, and then put silver on it. And had ghost stripes that were silver, and then some black, just pinstripes around it in black. And then I put about 17 coats
Yeah.
of red on it, which is just red dye in clear. Boy, you talk about it's a lot of sanding. My God, that was a lot of sanding. But anyway, it was a beautiful car. And we got it all done up, got it all fixed up, got it ready, and was getting ready to take it to the car show. Guy's coming down the road and his tires sliding. He backed up. What do you want for that car? I lost my car. But anyway, I got what I wanted for it. So that's all right.
Well, I've found that the best color for flying when you fly around green stuff and like a Brodax,
Yellow.
yellow.
Yeah.
And I Gordon tuned me in onto that. Gordon and Pete Peterson.
Yeah.
Between the two of those guys, they made some beautiful airplanes. But I'm going to share my last Pathfinder profile that I had. And it wasn't yellow, it was kind of a gold. But
Oh, that's pretty.
Got purple on it.
got purple,
Purple.
and it's got red,
It's purple.
purple and red, and kind of a purple, red, and gold with black
What
lettering.
motor jab on it?
Had a Brodac 40 on it.
Brodac 40 on that?
Yep.
Wow. Well, I may be overdoing it, but I love mine with a 51 on it. Man, that thing.
Well, Gordon likes his with a 51 on it too. And
Oh,
I think a
okay.
51's a good engine for it.
Yeah, it is. That thing got all the authority you ever want. I'm stunned. I mean, I've always been constant chord wings or nice trainers, but
Not necessarily. They can fly very well.
that thing flies as good as anything I've ever flown.
Gordy kind of hit the mark on this, didn't
I
he?
believe he did. And mine is not a real pretty one.
Let me ask you this, John. Were you copying Walt Frey?
Who's Walt Bray?
You got a stunt history book?
No, I don't.
He did the Bandit and the Outlaw. He was a custom painter. That's good color combinations. It's very reminiscent of Walt Frey.
Oh, what I did is got a color wheel,
Right.
artist.
I remember him. He did a lot of pattern masters.
Yeah, I think he did a lot of gold foil work too on some of his designs.
Well, he was a sign painter, so he better.
Yeah. Yeah, I see. I know who you mean now. But no, I wouldn't got me an artist color wheel, and I coordinate my colors using a color wheel. It just
Well, that's just sharp. John, I'll warn you though, if you come out this way in a year or two, you may see that plane.
Let me find a picture here. I'll show you what I'm talking about.
Okay.
Phil, did you build yours from a Brodac kit or from plans or?
Well, my first one was a kit. No, first one was scratch built. Second one somebody gave me, and I brought it home and rebuilt it. We got a fella down in Charlotte, Huntersville area that gave me one, and I brought it home and just thought, it'd be a good one to fix up and give one of the guys. Well, I brought it home and fixed it up, but the only thing I had that would fit it was a 51. So I put a 51 on it. I thought I might give the airplane away, but I'm not giving my motor away. Well, I made the mistake of taking it to the field and flying it one time. He ain't getting this one. This thing's just too much fun to fly. So, but it's a blast to fly. So now the next one I built, but I don't have it covered and painted yet. I'm gonna put John got me some paint a few years ago. That's watercolor. I call it watercolor, and I'm gonna paint it with it. And then I'm gonna paint it with it. Then I'm gonna clear coat it with just clear dope, and see what I can come up with. Trying to learn something because I love to build, but I hate to paint.
Outlaw OU.
Wait a minute. Just hold your taters.
1997 chapter. 97.
See that, Phil?
Yeah, I just took a picture of it. That's
Okay.
not your AMA number.
Yes, it is.
1671?
1601.
Is that the contest director special?
Yeah.
Okay, 16. I can't see the O. It's blurry, but anyway. That's
I really like this color scheme and the layout on that Pathfinder.
okay, that I can see it now. I thought the number was wrong, but yeah, I remember that. But that is really, really pretty. I've never been one to do all those angles in a paint job, but I hate to paint, but I'm determined I'm going to learn.
That was all done with spray
Monocoat.
can.
Oh, you're kidding.
With monocoat underneath it, but I used a what's an auto finish? Anyway, it's kind of like a lacquer, but it really
Duplicolor.
Duplicolor.
yeah. I used that on scuff up the monocoat a little bit with a scrubby or something, and then spray it right on there. And see what I
Well,
did
that's
is
cool.
I laid out. You see that area where I laid out for the name and the AMA number,
Uh-huh.
and just it was easy. It was easy to lay out. It really wasn't that bad. And just carried these lines back across the stab and elevator.
Is
This
there monocoat on the fuselage and tail too?
No, that's paint up in the.
Okay, just paint over. Okay.
I got a paint that matched this.
I was
Yeah.
going to say that's a pretty close match there.
But yeah, it came real close. See if I can get.
You
it's
did
starting to
good.
get blurry, but and so anyway, and then I just masked it off and I sprayed it. This is kind of a red, but this is kind of a
Orange.
burnt gold orange color.
I think
Okay.
they call that.
I think that's what's called burnt orange.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's beautiful. That's beautiful, John. I'm just
I lost
impressed that little motor would pull that thing with a 3-blade prop on it.
Well,
That's a lot of prop.
The 10-6 3-blade,
Yeah.
But
I'm still trying to find Tommy a rod for one of those motors. As many people as have busted those motors, nobody's got any parts.
No, and that's a shame because some of them were really good and some of them were crappy.
The early ones were crappy.
Okay,
The
here we go. I found
later
it.
ones were great.
All right.
Let's see here. This is one of them. This looks to be like a Thunderbird. Let's see. Indian Summers, this one. He did the Outlaw too.
Yeah, I remember the Outlaw.
I remember
thing
the
was
Outlaw.
pretty. Yeah.
Oh yeah, he did.
I thought that was Tim McGraw, the Indian Outlaw.
Yeah, well, that's true too. But that's a pretty airplane.
I bet it was heavy. There's a lot of paint on that.
How am I missing this? I don't see it anywhere.
I don't see it either.
Yeah, I never saw it.
Sparky, you disappeared.
It popped up. It
Hold
popped up for
on.
just a second, and it was
Got to
gone.
lock yourself on.
Hold on, I gotta find it again. 96. He did the Outlaw too.
Yeah, I remember that. He did that right before he died.
97. Shit. Now I gotta go through and find it again.
He was in Stunt Hangar, Stunt News, about every other month for about 6 months. And it got to be so regular that I called Tom Morris and asked, what happened? He's not got a plane in here this month. What happened? He passed away.
Yeah.
I remember that.
Let's see, almost coming up on it. Come on. I remember these. There we go. Okay. Is everybody watching now? I gotta hold this thing up here.
Don't let anybody say anything. Yeah. That does look like a Thunderbird.
Everybody see it?
Yep.
There's one more too, but I don't know that I can find it or not.
He did some really pretty stuff. The Outlaw was I thought the prettiest one.
That's Indian Summer there.
But he painted with a full-size spray gun too. He didn't use an airbrush.
That blue one on the wall is the prettiest one, I think.
I like that one too.
I like that. I just like that monochromatic, multiple blues. It looks really nice.
What happened to the red one? What happened to Monado?
Monato's hanging on the wall. It's it won the concourse. It did its job. It's I haven't had that one out flying since the Nats that year.
That Viper looks darn good. I like that too.
I still got that orange Viper I'm gonna play with. I still got an airplane that I built in Dayton that only have about 5 flights on it. The Aegis.
Oh, I remember that. I remember you building that.
Yeah.
What happened to the Magnum that you built last year, Sparky? Did you get rid of that?
I sold it.
I never even saw that one finished.
I flew it. Pretty nose heavy. I told the guy, I said, nose heavy, so I'll put tail weight on. He likes it. He flew it. He bought a couple more airplanes from me. So far he spent $5,000 with me.
I was going to say that sounds expensive.
Sparky, what are you charging for a paint job now? I know you used to paint for other people. How much you charging for a paint job now?
Painting is the hardest part.
Well, something like what's it? Max B. You know the paint job.
Yeah, I know the paint job. I painted one for Tom Morris.
Yeah.
You ain't gonna like it. I wouldn't do that for less than $1,500.
Yeah. Can you cut the plastic, whatever you call it?
Of course, yeah, I can.
What would that cost? Figure out what that cost and get back with me.
I don't do it for anybody.
Shoot.
I had somebody call me and say, "Will you cut me some paint masks?" Oh shit. Yeah. What happens is, and Dan Winship will agree with it. You know, I was going to build fuel tanks and landing gear and bell cranks and stuff, and I'm going to build a few to sell at the contest, but I'm not going to take orders for any of that stuff, because then I'm married to making people not doing anything for me. I'm making people stuff. So
Yeah. Wait till you retire from flying, then you can do that.
yeah, I doubt it. I'll keep building. I love to build.
Yeah, me too. I just don't like to paint. You're a master of the paintbrush, master of the paint gun. One of these days I'll learn how, but so far it's just been a pain in the butt. I used to be good at it. I used to love it when I had a place to do it. That was the most fun part of it. Paint it, sand it.
I'll paint something, but I ain't gonna see. Here's where people get the big mistake. I'll paint something for somebody, but I'm not sanding it, because the sanding is the paint job.
Yeah.
If you want me to shoot the paint on it, no problem. But if you want me to sand it, it's $1,500, and that's cheap.
Well, how much would it be to put the paint on it and I'll sand it? That airplane.
How are you gonna get it here?
I'll find a way to get it there.
If I don't have to sand it and you supply the paint, I'll do it for $250. I'll put the trim on it and everything.
All right. I'll have to figure out how to get it there. I haven't built the plane yet, but I'm going to. I've got a hunt wing for it downstairs, but I just cannot.
We got both Steve Smiths in here.
Yeah, at the same time, and they're side by side. My God, is the internet going to crash?
Think so. It might.
You got the real one and the original one.
Yeah. There's only one thing missing. The original's little white dog.
Oh, he's around. He'll be giving me trouble sooner than later.
Oh, that's beautiful. That's beautiful.
That's an Elwin Odd photo.
That's John's airplane, I think.
Yeah. That's the All-American Eagle.
Wow.
And, painted up like a Blue Angel.
Yeah.
Like, is that Norm Whittle's design?
No, that's a Bob Gerke.
Bob Gerke's
That's part
design.
of the Novi series.
Dave Gerke.
That's the last one.
Yeah, Dave Gerke. This is the
Dave
last
Gerke.
one. But it'd be Novi 5 if he'd have called it a Novi.
Yeah.
But
that's the only one that's got a little bit different fuselage on it, and it's not much different, but it's still got the anhedral. It's got the anhedral tail, and it's got those weird ribs. They're not really that one. If I remember right, that one's not really an I-beam, but it sure looks like one.
Well, it's built on an I-beam, but it has
But they slide on. They don't.
Yeah.
You don't put them on this way. It's a full rib and slid on.
Well, I'll tell you what. That is one of the best flying airplanes I've ever had, right there. For me.
Yeah, I'd like to have one of those. I'd like to build one of those. I've got the plans. I've got a big decal to go on the wing.
Did you get the plans from me?
No, sir. I'd like to have some of yours because you probably got the right ones.
You need to get the plans from me. It's a lot easier to build.
Okay, I'll do that.
Yeah,
but that's one I really want for myself. It's not one that I think would be cool to take to a contest or anything else. I just want to build that airplane just like that, except I want to put All-American Eagle will be on. I've got an eagle that goes on the wing, and it says All-American Eagle around it. Okay. I just think it'll look cool. And it's in gold.
The reason I pulled this up was just with that small amount of yellow on there with that dark blue. This shows up good at the background at Brodex.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
You know, it doesn't take a whole lot, but a little yellow in the right
place.
That's
the reason Al Raby put yellow wingtips and all on his Mustang. He knew he wanted to be able to see it. It don't take much. You just got to have something you can see. I've got one airplane that I fly the spinner because that's all I can see at some places.
Yeah. Well, you know, now here's something I'm sure you're going to want to see, Phil. That's me.
I remember that. I remember you at that, and I remember that airplane.
Make it big. I can't see you. Shit. Got old eyes, man. Need new glasses.
How's that?
I remember
that. Lots better.
Got a Formula S?
No, that's
Pathfinder
40.
That's Pathfinder 40, the one behind him. I think it's the one behind him.
Yeah, the one behind me is at the back of the pile back
it looks just like the one he had. You had that at Tucson. I don't know where that picture is.
Here I recovered this wing and I hadn't put that red stripe on yet.
Yeah. But I remember that airplane at Tucson, and it looked good there.
Now this airplane with the red shows up pretty good, but it didn't show as good as the All-American or the All-American Eagle or the Pathfinder LE that's yellow against the green. And I'm convinced that yellow, at least some yellows in good spots indicating what you need to see, is really good to keep an airplane from blending into the background.
Yeah. Yellow doesn't change like a lot of colors do. Even
No.
white, and everybody says white's the color. That's why Gieske put a white stripe on the side of his Nobler. No, it's not. But anyway, white shows up a lot, but it will disappear in the shadows. It does darken so much that it effectively changes color. Yellow does
Yeah.
not. And I'm not one
If
that
I was
likes a whole lot of
rebuilding
yellow,
a
but
Ray Bearcat, if I'd build a Ray Bearcat, I'd build the yellow version of the Beetle Bomb.
that's Beetle Bomb, yeah. I was going to do that, but Larry Drone already did it, and Larry's a friend of mine. Doesn't live, but he lives in Asheboro, an hour away. And I was going to do it, but Larry beat me to it. So I'm going to do 201B off the Boxer, and the profile downstairs will be number 100, which is the one that had the stripe down, came down and went back. Very, very colorful. And everybody said, why would they paint a real airplane that colorful? I mean, those colors show up too much. It's because when they took off in groups, all that plane did was take off, and that air group would gather around that airplane. And they'd have another, and it was another crazy color, and they'd have 4 or 5 groups of them up there. And then they take off and go on the mission. But those 5 airplanes would come back and land on the carrier. Their mission was over.
Yeah.
Just for the guys to gather up on.
Well, the
So,
Japanese did that with their fighter squadrons, and it denoted who was the big boss of that group, and they actually went to battle with theirs.
yeah. You know, the Japanese, everybody, well, we were talking the other day here, not here, but at the field, and I was talking to somebody, and I told them the Japanese, you know, they didn't have the resources that we had. They were running out of aluminum, they were running out of rubber, they were running out of everything. They figured out how to make paper mache fuel tanks that would last for the mission.
Really?
And sometimes even get back home and land and take the things and take them out and dry them out and use them again. Sometimes, not always, sometimes. But everybody thought I was crazy. So look it up on the internet. They look at the material the Jap Zero's fuel tanks were made of. You will see aluminum, but if you look at it, it's the bracket that holds it to the wing, and the release mechanism is metal. The tank itself, paper mache.
Japanese tissue.
Yeah, I hear you. I couldn't figure out. I mean, those things were 250 gallons. That's a lot of weight.
Yeah.
Clever, those Japanese.
Well, they weren't clever enough, unfortunately for them.
Yeah.
But I think in the long run, they came out ahead.
I think they did too, because we went in and set them up, made them the industrial giant.
They bombed us with radios.
Yeah. Yeah. We don't watch it.
The first rubber power windup I ever got was made in Japan out of wire and silk, colored silk. Remember those? They'd hardly fly, but you could wind them up and they would go a ways.
I remember when everybody said
made in Japan was junk.
Yep.
Funny, 10 years later, made in Japan was the good stuff.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Very strange.
So
Now
Steve,
everything's made in China. You find something made in Japan now, buy it.
yeah.
One of the smartest moves they made. I'm not a big MacArthur fan. I know he did
Yeah.
a lot of things, but I've heard a lot of stories from people who served around him that I'm just not a good fan of his. But the smartest thing that was done at the end of the war was putting MacArthur in charge of the occupation.
Yeah.
Because what he did in those first year or so after the occupation of Japan instilled in the Japanese people a trust, and we didn't kill the emperor. We left him in charge. We showed respect to the emperor, and they fell in line with us. And we had an economist here that we kind of debunked here, and they brought him over there, and they used his theories on the economy, and their economy took off like a shot after that.
Well, the way they did stuff in their factories. A guy that worked for AT&T wrote that book,
Yeah,
and AT&T would not adopt it. The
right.
United States would not adopt it. The Japanese adopted it, and they kicked our butts with it for many
Yep.
years.
Yep. Well, MacArthur did the right thing in the occupation. I'll grant him that. And I think one of the reasons we have a strong, I don't want to get political, but a strong ally there is because of the way MacArthur handled the occupation.
MacArthur, my uncle worked with MacArthur. I always thought that my uncle I was always told he was a World War II hero. Now, just bear with me a second. I grew up hearing this crap, and I never could quite figure it out. Anyway, found out my uncle spent World War II in a bunker with MacArthur in Australia.
Oh, really?
My other uncle, who never said anything about the war and never didn't know anything at all about that he'd even been in the war until my dad told me right before he died. My uncle Ollie was one of the ones raising the flag on Iwo Jima.
Oh, really?
So I'm sitting there with him. All this time, George was taking the credit for being the war hero, and it was really Uncle Ollie. So I mean, it just flipped me out. They're both gone now. All the uncles are gone.
Which time did he raise the flag on Mount Suribachi? The first time or the second time?
The first time when the bullets were still flying over their heads.
Yeah. The famous picture is the second time.
Right.
I know.
Well, it was a long time ago and it was a tough situation.
Yeah.
And in the end, things seem to have worked out a bit, but we just keep our hopes up and keep trying.
Yeah, keep heading at it. I'll tell you what, the way the politics is going today, I don't even want to talk about it because it scares me how stupid they've gotten.
Oh,
yeah, I remember it used to be. I'm gonna say this and I'm gonna quit because this isn't too. I'm not getting one party or the other because everybody's guilty of it. I remember when we would not vote for somebody because they resorted to smear tactics.
yeah.
That's all this one has become is a big smear tactic.
Yeah.
My gosh, talk about dirty politics.
Talking about flying in the Japanese, when I was in the Navy,
Mm-hmm.
when we were rotating back home, we went up the inland sea of Japan, of China or Japan there. And we went up to Hokkaido. Hokkaido's the northernmost island in the Japanese chain.
Yeah.
Hokkaido's where they got Sapporo beer and all of that. Their breweries up there. They're real proud that they're on the same latitude line as Milwaukee is. Okay.
Oh, okay.
Anyway, and I was drinking in those days. They made really good beer. They had at the factory there. They had a big room we'd all go to because it was a tasting room, and they had all kinds of varieties of beer that it was hard to find in the store,
Mm-hmm.
But it was pretty good stuff for Japanese beer, and but that's where they have the ski resorts, and it gets snowing. That's where the people called the Hairy Ainu live.
Mm.
Hairy Ainu are an indigenous people, and unlike they look Asian, but they also look a little Caucasian, and they have facial hair, a lot of it, and
Mm-hmm.
they're just hairier than an average Japanese, you know. Like when I was young, I had hair going down my back, hair going down my front. Well, that's all falling out now, but but they
Getting old as a bear.
yeah, on the top too, yeah. Going old isn't for sissies. So anyway, but we pulled in there, and I was walking through the town. Now we were the first U.S. Navy ship that had ever been there since World War II, the end of World War II.
Were you a Korean vet?
No, I was a Vietnam vet.
Okay.
Early Vietnam vet. And so we were tied up to the pier, and I got liberty. And so I went and walked into town, and the the new part of town was real short. I got into the old part of town where they didn't have pavement, and the people still wore those funny shoes with the little things on it so they could walk through the mud without getting it all over them.
Mhm.
And I got going on and I saw, my goodness, there's a hobby shop. And so I went over and I looked in the window and they had some brand new Enyas and brand new OS Max 35Ss and all that. And the 35S turned out to be about $8.95 US.
Oh, man.
And so I walked in there and the guy running the place could hardly speak English, but I spoke a little Japanese, he spoke a little English. Between the two of us, I let him know I wanted to buy that Enya. It was a Enya 49, I believe, with a bald head. It didn't have any fins on the head. And I bought that because I was wanting to build a Shark 45.
Mhm.
I wanted that bigger engine. And I bought that OS 35S because it was just so pretty. And I'd heard them run and all that. And so I got through paying for my purchase. I think it was like $20 and some odd cents. It was ridiculously cheap. And he stopped me, he grabbed me by the shoulder. He says, you fly maybe tomorrow? I said, I don't have anything to fly. He said, no, we fly tomorrow. Club, we fly, Oh yeah, I'd be happy to go. What time? He said, 9 o'clock. 9 o'clock. He says, and he let me know that there would be some people come to the pier to pick me up, okay, and drive me up to their field. Well, at 9 o'clock, I was ready. I was down on the mess deck, and it came over the speaker, the John Miller quarter deck. There's people here to see you. So up I go, and there wasn't one. There was about 20 people there. 3, 4, 5 cars and one motorcycle. And I went down, we got into that one of the cars and we took off and we went up the side of the mountain. There was a big plateau up there. And it was beautiful up there. It was green grass, low bushes, no big tall trees, so low bushes. And it was owned by this lumber company. And one of the guys in the club was the son of the man that owned the land, as I understood it. And so they started flying. There was basically Saturday flying kind of a thing, But they were, well, those that could speak any English, we talked and I had so much fun. And finally, they invited me to fly combat, with something. It wasn't a ringmaster, but it was that kind of an airplane, And you fly combat? Yeah, I do a little bit, So I get out there, and the hot rod kid that was on the motorcycle, he was the guy flying the other one, and so we got going and we were having a good time. And I made a couple passes on him, and he made a couple passes on me, and the last pass, I come out of it and forced him into the ground, and so yay for the USA, kind of thing. Well, and then after we were through flying, we went up to this kid's house, and there was a building there, and I don't remember correctly if it was part of the house or if it was like a shop or a shed, but it was a 2-story, and the upper floor was just one big room, and if there's any chairs in there, they're real low, as I remember, and they had like a table in there. It was only that high off the floor. That was because they all sat around on your butts or on your knees and sat down and ate. And Mama-san came in and served us Japanese style on that
That's
little
some good
table.
eating.
Oh my goodness. I had such a good day that day. I've never forgotten that day of flying with those boys. It was the Otaro Model Airplane Club. Otaro was the name of the city in northern Hokkaido. Nice bunch of guys. And I wish I could get in touch with them even to this day. They were just absolutely super nice to this poor old sailor. That's the end of my story.
I tell you what, there's always a lot of people have stories like that over there. They were very gracious people.
They were.
It was a lot of fun. When I went as a national service tech to Japan and was not there for long, but I was going to worked with Mita Corporation for a few days. And it's back before you had to have all this paperwork and crap to go abroad and back. But anyway, went over and they decided to take me out to dinner. So we go out to dinner, and it's the night I got there before we got together to get too busy working on the engineering the new machine. And they take me out to this place, and it's food. I cannot identify any of it. I don't know what the crap I'm eating. And of course, none of them spoke good enough English to tell me what it was. And it's one of those places where they got those tables. I'm not going to tell a whole lot of this, but the ones of you that know, the big table, and the table slides apart, and you see 4 big spikes, and the table slides together. It's got a hole in the middle of it.
The monkey's head.
Oh God, he had to say it. Yeah, well, guy come in and brought a monkey all bound up, and they put it on the table, and then the guy comes in with a knife. Oh, I lost my appetite quick.
About lost your beans there.
I about lost everything right there. Anyway, about 2 hours later, I finally got back. They finally dropped me off at my hotel, and I was trying to be gracious and thank you, and I'll see y'all in the morning. They said they're gonna pick me up 9 o'clock in the morning, 9:30 in the morning, and I went into the hotel. Well, I waited till they disappeared, and I went back out because the only thing I'd seen in Japan that I could recognize was a set of golden arches, and they were about 200 yards down the road. I said, I got to have something that I can identify. So I walked down the road and walked into McDonald's, and there's Y. Ueda and Tony Lou, and I forgot the other guy's name, but anyway, sitting there. We wonder how long it take you.
Hey,
Those
Mark,
guys,
I see you
they
made
got
it.
me good. They got me good, boys. I was a laughing stock. But anyway, oh Lord, I went and got something I could identify and ate. That was a wild place. And come out of there and come home.
Yeah, I
No,
thought I saw Mark Gruber and heard him.
I'd always wanted to go to Hawaii, so they sent me to Hawaii. I got there after dark. They put me in a limousine, took me to the hotel. I worked an international trade show for 4 days. They decided I had to be back, get on a plane that night because I had to be in LA the next morning. So I go get back on the airplane at night. The only thing I saw was the highway from the airport to the hotel and the hotel back to the airport. That's it. I saw there's a lot of flowers, I can tell you that. That's all I know about Hawaii.
Well,
I've been to 49 of the 50 states. I've never been to Maine, but my wife and I are planning a trip up there in the spring and go up into Nova Scotia and then come back down the East Coast and see all the lighthouses.
Go down to Rumford, Maine if you can get there. Rumford,
we're
Maine,
gonna
you get to see the Aurora Borealis.
Oh yeah, we're planning. We're planning on that. And it's there's one place there in Maine in Vermont that I went, and I'm looking for this lighthouse because even back then I loved lighthouses. My wife's the real lover, but I like them too. I'm looking for this lighthouse, and I'm told it's right over there. Well, I couldn't find it. So I walked up to this bus. It's a tour bus, and I walked up and asked the tour bus guy, driver. He wasn't the driver; he was the guy that's putting on. Anyway, it was with the tour bus company. I asked him, "There's supposed to be a lighthouse around here. Where the heck is it?" He says, "It's right over there." And I looked around, I couldn't see it, and man, you got to be kidding me. He said, "No, come on." And he went and walked over with me. It's about 50 yards. We walk over there. So help me, the lighthouse is 6 feet tall, but it's right on the side of a got to be 300-foot cliff. And you walk up to it, and there was a truck sitting there, and the dang lighthouse was behind the truck. It was a van, and I couldn't see the lighthouse. Couldn't see the lighthouse for the van. But I got to show my wife that one because I came home, told her about it, and I went to take a picture of it. Found out I was out of film. I was back in the film days, 30 some years ago. But I want to go back and show her that one. There's several things I've seen that I want to show my wife, and I'm finally, after 30 years, getting around to showing her some of this stuff. And then well, that was it. There's a lot of stuff I saw, but I've been to South Dakota. I mean, I can't even remember if it's north or south. I think it's South Dakota to see the monument 4 times. I have yet to see the monument. I've gotten on the grounds. I've looked up where the monument is, but it was so fogged in all 4 times I never saw it. I've been up in part of it. Big square hole in the side of the mountain. I walked up in that, where the construction holes, where they went up in there to anchor the equipment, but could not see a darn thing but the clouds. Took pictures of it, but all it is, why'd you take a picture of fog? Oh, that's Mount Rushmore. Anyway.
Well, in response to you talking about how gracious the Japanese people are over there, when we were in Curie, which is a town where on the shore, I forget which island, I think it's the Middle Island, or it might be anyway, that's where the Japanese Self-Defense Force have what would be considered like our Annapolis. That's where their military academy.
Yeah.
And so we were anchored in there, and there was they had a whole bunch of little sub chasers, and they're about the size of a PT boat, maybe a little bigger. And these crews would come up, and at lunchtime they'd eat, and then they'd all go out on the pier and they'd play a game of volleyball. Well, we had a volleyball team on our destroyer. And so we also had a Japanese interpreter assigned to us. So we called her and said, hey, ask those guys if they'd like to play volleyball. We've got a team, we'd like to play them. And he went gone for about an hour. He come back and said, oh yeah, they're very happy to have you, And I said, great, let's go, guys. He said, no, bus come for you. 3:00, bus here. By the way, he said, do you have a second team maybe? And I said, well, we can probably scrape one together. So we scraped another team together. We got on the bus and they haul us in and they take us into the academy grounds. Now, if you know anything about Japanese people, volleyball to them is almost like football is to us. And they're very good at it.
Yeah, they're very good at it.
And we were playing the academy team.
Probably got your butts handed to you.
You lose.
I'll tell you what, I saw things I would never believe. We were playing on asphalt.
Yeah.
On asphalt?
On asphalt. We were out in the yards there. And we were playing on asphalt, and I watched the guy come from the back row, diving face first, do a flip and hit the ball, saves the ball from hitting the ground. I wouldn't have done that on a beach, on sand,
I've done it on sand, but not on asphalt.
But he did it, So we kept getting called because we'd never played under the real rules of volleyball, where you have to have your fist up, that you can't grab hand it like that. Can't no part of your body can go over the net. We just weren't used to that. No, you have to stay behind the net. You cannot go over the net. Like when you're spiking.
You can't go past the net. Yeah, gotcha.
Yeah, and things like that. So we got a lot of fouls called on.
Let's hear from, let's give some other guys a chance. Let's hear from Mark Gerber.
Okay, I got some pictures. Yeah, here we go.
Hey, look at that.
Bearcat's coming along.
Yes, I got the rudder and the stabilizer finished. This is just test fitting them.
Mark, that looks like if you're flying upside down, if you scrape the rudder, you're right at the right height.
It does have a god-awful rudder on it.
Yes, it does. And this is the cutout for the mechanism to do the rudder.
The the cam.
Yeah, the cam. And there's a test fit the door that I had on my first Bearcat, which I'm going to reuse.
There you go.
There's a tray that with the cam in it
Hold on
that
a
I
minute.
fabricated, and how it all fits together with the little ball connector
Yeah.
here that goes on the slider.
Are you gonna
here's the-
harden that up or something? You gonna
Harden it up.
harden it up, the tray, before you put it in? I mean, I'm just plywood against balsa. It feels like that would sooner or later
Oh,
wear
it-
itself.
No, this is the way Keith did it, and what he did, and what I did, no, I haven't done here yet, is put some graphite in here and lubricate it,
Ah, okay.
and then it slides a little easier. It slides pretty easy the way it is here, but a little graphite in there makes sure that it'll stay that way.
Okay, good idea.
I thought of that.
And here's the flange to. These are the blind nuts to hold the door in. And there's a flange in the door. There's the door mounted on the flange, just like it'll be when I get the rest of the airplane painted. There's the mechanism. You can see
How
the
cool.
wire coming here from the rudder. And then this thing slides fore and aft. And this is the profile. It gives you this is for a down elevator where it's positioned right now, which gives you the right rudder. And then when you get to the middle, it pretty well neutralizes. And when you get to the up elevator, it goes over just a little bit. And again, this is the cam action that Keith researched and figured out worked the best. So it saved me a lot of trouble trying to figure this out. And then today I mated the wing with the fuselage. And so now I'm getting ready to make a push rod and start fitting the control system in there. And then I'll be able to attach the stabilizer,
That is a
And,
pickle barrel.
keep on going. So,
How much do you think this thing's gonna weigh?
well, the first one weighs 63 ounces. So I think it'll be about that.
Using all your best wood in it?
Yeah, much as I can.
Yeah.
And then this weekend we had the Ringmaster Flyathon. Lynn Boss had a fly-in or flyathon down at his place in Watkins with his concrete circle. And it was a really windy day, so we didn't actually do a lot of flying. But Lynn put up his Ringmaster here, and that's Lynn flying, and that's Lori, his wife. And she was going to fly it, but after she did part of a lap in the wind, she decided she'd let him fly it. And then here's a whole crew of us under the tent. We spent a lot of time in the morning just kind of having an informal stunt session and talking about flying and everything else.
What's the guy's name in the front there?
This is Chris Brainerd. That's
Yeah.
Linda Brainerd.
I recognize him.
Yeah. These other guys, I don't think you'd probably know. They're from the Denver club and they don't go around to many contests.
Where's Keith? Is that him with his
Back turned to us?
No, Keith is not there.
Shucks.
And
Keith
there's some
should
more of the
know.
guys. They were out test running a motor up in the corner. This is the young kid that thinks this flying stuff is really fun. So hope he stays with it.
Fox Super Fuel?
My goodness, that's an old can.
Yeah. I don't know where they got that. I wasn't out doing this, so I don't know.
I think I
Exactly
got one
what-
of those left in the basement. I got from
I know
Charlie
exactly
Reeves.
what they were doing, but they were test running some motor here.
Yeah.
Maybe for the kid to show him how to get it to go good on his plane. I don't know. Anyway, then this is Chris Brainerd flying his Ringmaster. Jerry Higgins flew, I think he was the first flight. It was so windy, the plane would come around and it would go into the wind, you'd see it slow down. Then it would get around to the upwind side, and boy, it would really speed up going back downwind. Jerry was really fighting it to keep it level. but he managed to flat the tank and he landed it without a big problem. We gave him a big round of applause. So anyway, this is Chris found a little bit later in the day. The wind was very devious. It would die down and then you get a plane in the air and it would come back up and blow like mad. And here's Lori getting ready to, you can't see it, but she's holding the handle, and Lynn and a couple other guys are over here starting the airplane. Anyway, it was a fun morning. I enjoyed being down there, even though we didn't get much flying done. But and I picked this up the other day.
I remember those.
I had one of these when I was a kid, so I found one and I thought I got to have one. And it's pretty good shape. I cleaned it up and I think I'll try to fly it someday. But
They
brings
don't
back
fly very good.
I don't think so either. I never did get mine to fly when I was a kid. I started the motor once in the basement of our house. And
They don't fly real good.
I never got in trouble for it, but I'm surprised now that I didn't. One thing I discovered, this has got like a 4.5 inch prop on it. I think if you put a bigger prop on it, it might fly a lot better.
Yeah.
I think I may do that before I try to fly it. But anyway, this is something I picked up. And then here's a joke I pulled on this is my bear cat. I sent
That
this to
hurts.
Joe Gilbert. I said, it hit really hard.
Oh, man. Oh, man.
But this was the part of the tail I had left, and I cut it off so I could get inside and get the tail wheel out of it and get the cam out of it. That makes a nice prop if you want to put it in the backyard. It looks like a plane went in all the way down to the tail.
Mounted on
Yeah.
a plaque like I did mine.
What's
You
that?
see, mounted on a plaque like I
Oh,
did.
yeah.
Like this.
I thought about that, maybe hanging on the wall just with the sticking out of the wall or something.
Yeah,
But
that's a good thing to do.
anyway, that was what I've been doing for the last week or so.
Been busy. Sparky's, I don't know how he can do what he does. Because he came to Huntersville with that P-47. It was so pretty, and he crashed it, just destroyed it. And goes back home, starts making videos, building another airplane like nothing ever happened. I'm sitting there. I'd have been sick as a dog.
Well, there's
Good
one
day.
better than that. I crashed that was number 3. I crashed number 2, and Ted Winterman says, I had both of them out there. I was getting ready for the Nats. He said, what are you going to do? I said, well, I'm going to take the lines off this one and put them on number 3, and we're going to fly again. What are you going to do?
What can you do?
Just be happy as hell that you had a number 3 when number 2 was broke. So
That's exactly right.
it's about all you can do. Suck it up.
Would you look who's come in? Good to see you, Dennis.
Ah,
Hi,
good to
Denny.
be here. Good to be here. I'm sorry I missed the Mark Gerber build plan there on the Bearcat. I figured, I got thinking you were probably about ready to start doing the fuselage. And I was talking to my friend the other day, and we weren't sure. I says, I don't think Mark built his Bearcat with full half shells. I thought he did it in sections, and thank you for proving that for me. Do you do that in like quarters, or do you do that?
Yeah, I don't have a good picture handy, but
Is it 4
Um,
pieces or 6 or more than that?
it's basically 4.
Okay.
See if I get back to where I had a picture of it. The
Just like the Thunderbolts built, the sides of the crutch.
yeah, so the sides are each separate pieces, and these are not molded. There's not enough curve in them that you have to really mold them. I did have to use a little bit of vinegar back here to make things curve like I wanted. But it's easy to, just basically clamp these on and glue them.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's the top shell up here. I made that in 2 pieces because there's so much curvature up here at the top.
Right.
And I spliced those together before I put them on the plane and used some carbon fiber inside to join them together to make it look like one piece. That worked out fine.
Mm-hmm.
And then you really can't see it here, but there's another piece that goes on the bottom. So the two molds I have, there's a mold for the top, and there's a mold for the bottom. And that's the last piece I put on is that bottom one.
Is that a Walter Umland kit?
No. It's a
You just
Mark Gerber kit. It's a Mark Gerber kit.
You just had the parts laser cut?
Yeah, I took the plan that Pampa offered for a while, and I ordered one because I just thought it'd be fun to have it. And nothing happened for like 6 months. This is like 5 or more years ago when Pampa Plans was still in operation.
Who did the laser cutting?
Um, Brian Malin.
Oh, no.
Down in what is that,
South
in
Carolina.
Carolina?
Yeah, he's the BM, Brian Malin in the BMJR
Oh,
company.
okay.
And Bob Whitney put me onto him. Well, first I talked to Keith Russell, and he said, talk to Bob Whitney. I talked to Bob Whitney, and he said, talk to Brian Malin, he'll do it for you. But don't tell him I recommended you, or he'll not do it. I don't know what the joke was there between Bob
Did you,
and
did you have to send him the wood?
yes, well, yes, I did. Because I wanted to make sure I got what I wanted light enough. And then all of the fuselage formers, well, the first two here are just plain old 1/8 inch plywood. But from this one back, I think to there, they're laminated. It's a 32nd inch piece of plywood laminated to a 3/32 piece of balsa. So I did the lamination and sent Brian the laminated blanks of wood, and he laser cut them to make the formers for me. And the last one back here is just plain old balsa wood. But I took two 16th inch sheets and made the grain 90 degrees and glued them together, make it a little bit better, stiffer. But anyway, I started with the plan that I got from Pampa, and then I developed a CAD plan based on that. It took me probably at least 2 months of work to get that all worked out. So the outline and the airfoil and everything else is as close as I could get it to the Raby plan that Pampa had. But
And that version is that was what, the 71 version, was it, or something like that? Or was it 69?
yes, no, it was the
slightly later one. Okay.
I think it was the 70.
70 or
I forget
71.
now, but it was.
Yeah, okay.
No,
That's
that's not as
Keith,
big as the
because-
BBQB, right?
No,
Was
this
that
was
Sparky?
originally a 46 size.
That's
Yeah,
not as
this-
big as the BBQB I had, right?
No, it's
No.
not. This is smaller.
Yeah, it's a smaller airplane. This
I've
was
got a
originally,
s-
this
Super
originally flew
Tiger
with a
60.
46.
But he flew it with a 46 back in
Yeah.
1971 or 70, whenever it was.
Yeah, 46 board and stroke to 60.
Anyway,
At
Keith
that
Trossel
time,
gave
he
me
hadn't even done that, Sparky. So
No, he didn't have the 46s yet. It was just a
Keith Trossel
46.
gave me a lot of inputs on how I should do it. So like the wing structure inside is very much like Keith's. Like he told me to put a couple extra spars in here. I said, why do you want to do that? And he said, because people pick the plane up by the leading edge and they crunch this. So I don't know. I didn't ask him how he learned that, but
I've done that.
I did
Several
that.
of my
And
planes.
of course, the back end there with Keith's mechanism for the rudder implementation is quite a bit different than Raby had it.
Now,
He-
Works much
Keith-
better.
Keith has one that's orange. It's bigger than that one, right?
No, they're the same
No.
size, basically.
Okay, so
It is the
John
same
Jordan
size.
had the mate to it, to the orange one, so it's the Gulf size airplane.
Yeah,
It's two
right.
different airplanes. John
But,
Jordan's airplane was
The kit that was a Bearcat 2 One or
John
two?
Jordan is Jordan's. It was not a kit. He built it alongside Keith Trussell. They're the exact same airplane.
Oh, okay. I had
Yeah.
been told it was a 2 or 3, and this was it was a 1 or 2, and this was a 3. But if he
Keith-
built it with Keith, it's a 3.
Keith was a Bearcat 1.
Well, it was the same as this one, wasn't it?
No, this was a Bearcat 3. It's a
It-
slightly different airfoil. It has bigger
Keith's
flaps.
was a 1? I didn't know that.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
And
Okay.
this is bigger.
Huh?
This one here is bigger.
No, it's the same size.
Oh, just different
But
numbers.
it has a different airfoil. It has a larger flap area.
Okay.
But it says the same wing outline, the same wingspan.
I did not
And
know Keith's
I
was
made
different.
I made one other deviation that Keith was complaining to me. He said that Raby made the front of his Bearcat elliptical. So it was taller than it was wide.
Yeah.
And Keith said the real Bearcat has got a circular cowl. And I said, you're right. So when I drew up the fuselage, I made the front end circular. So I had to add about a half an inch of width to the fuselage. And I know that cost me a little bit of weight, I'm sure. But it sure looks a lot better to me.
It does look better, and it's a whole lot easier to make that front end. Whoops. It's a whole lot easier to make the front end round than it is. That elliptical shape is a bear to carve.
Yeah, I turned this, and I will turn the next one on a lathe.
Yeah.
And that was pretty straightforward. It was hard to, first you had to glue the blocks together so you got the grain right.
Yeah.
But once you get it on the lathe, it's a matter of an hour and you're done.
Use a chlorine bottle.
What's
No,
what's
ain't
that?
no plastic on that plane.
Use a chlorine bottle. Make them
Oh,
make one out of fiberglass.
if I got the right radius, I could probably do that.
I think a quart chlorine bottle is about that size. Clorox bottle.
I think the radius on the bottom is a little tight. It's a fairly well-developed curve, I think, around the edge, around it.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty good size radius.
Anyway, this is a perfect circle here.
Yeah.
So
Well, from there forward, is that going to be your lathe turn block then?
yeah, it's
Mhm.
only about another inch here,
About an inch? Okay.
maybe an inch and a quarter that comes out
Mhm.
and curves around. So that'll
And
be
you
my lathe.
need to make the cowl flaps movable.
No. You know, on Keith's, the exhaust, I see you got yours drawn to cut them in, which is the way I did mine. I cut mine in. But on Keith's, it was just ink. And you had to go up and about touch that thing to realize it's not really there. I don't know who drew them
Are you
for
talking about the exhaust
Yeah,
back here?
yeah.
Yeah.
but Keith's was just drawn in with ink.
Yeah, my first
my-
one, for a while, I was just gonna ignore the fact that it was even there and just make it, plain old blue.
No, you got to put it. That's too
But
much
then
of the character.
I
of the
thought
plane.
about it some more and I said, well, I think I'll do it. So it wasn't nearly as hard as I thought. I just have to kind of cut this out and then make another block to fit behind it
Mhm.
to have the bevel in it. And then I just took 3 pieces of, I think it's 3/16-inch aluminum tubing
Mhm.
that were each about 1/8 of an inch long and just glue them in there.
Yeah,
And
it doesn't take much. You just have to hint at it, but
yeah,
it looks funny without it.
yeah. So
But that's pretty neat. That is pretty neat. You did a good job.
anyway, plowing ahead here and someday it'll be done.
Good, Mark.
some
Buff it
days-
out. You'll be painting it by Christmas. So
No, if I just quit everything else and didn't do anything but build, I think you're probably right. But I'm gonna go to Las Vegas, so I got to get ready for that. And then we're gonna go to Florida to see the grandkids if they don't get blown away by the hurricane.
Yeah, really.
And then we're gonna go to Keystone for Christmas and ski up there for a week, and then I'll shoot some more time. So January and February are pretty open for building, but then in March you got PSC comes up and
well, hey, if you committed to doing a YouTube video for an hour a day, you'd have that thing finished in 3 weeks.
That's right.
It'd probably be pretty boring because most of what I do is thinking and tinking around with the computer and going to get coffee.
Well,
And
if in doubt, just start sanding, right?
yeah,
It works for that guy in St. Louis, so right?
That's right. Well, I'm going to end the YouTube side of this.
yeah,
All my
I gotta
YouTube,
get off here too.
you guys don't have to go anywhere, but I'm going to turn this over to Denny, and the after party will take place. But for now, I have to, let's see here, get back to, oh geez, error. I'm getting a lot of errors lately. Okay, channel content, let's go there. Alrighty, into the, and we got to move this. I don't have any other YouTube chats, no super chats. All we have is Wayne Rice. Hello, everyone. Like provided. Roy Lane. Good evening, y'all. Like given. And then why not fly stunt? There's very few YouTube chats tonight. I do appreciate you watching. I'll be back on tomorrow finishing up the paint job on this. So till then, fair winds, tight lines. See ya.
All right.
Hey,
And I'm
Bob.
amazed. There truly are two people. I see we have the original